Imagine there is a big guy on campus, strong, influential, and not on exactly good terms with a certain girl. They have had a fallout and the girl isn't happy to get him. To get back at him, or maybe to make him jealous, she starts hanging out with his close friends, trying to win them over. But here's the thing. Why would the guy's loyal group of friends turn their back on him so easily? They have known him for years and their bond runs deep. Now putting this through a geopolitical lens, it all starts to click. The European Union is like the girl in the story and the Russia is the powerful guy she's not ready to get along with. The EU is now trying to cozy up with Russia's allies, hoping to shift the balance for some rare earth stuff. But they might not realize that this move could backfire and come off as a more provocative action than strategic. In a bid to deepen ties amid the shifting geopolitical landscape, the European Union has pitched itself to Central Asia as a reliable partner, aiming for greater access to the region's critical raw materials, clean energy resources, and political alignment over Russia's war in Ukraine. At the first EU Central Asia summit held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, the EU and the 5 Central Asian countries, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan agreed to elevate their relationship into a strategic partnership. The EU also unveiled a major €12 billion investment package under its Global Gateway initiative, targeting projects in transport, energy, water, digital connectivity, and raw materials. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, speaking at the summit, underscored the urgency of building alliances. Reliable partners have never been so important, she stated, pointing at the rising global competition and redrawing of influence by the powers like Russia, China, India, and also the US. Of the $12 billion package, $3 billion will go towards transport infrastructure, $2.5 will go to critical raw material, and $6 billion to water, energy, and climate initiatives. Well, make no mistake, European Union here is trying its best to get into Central Asia's vast rare earth reserves. And why? Let us tell you. Well, Central Asia has some vast reserves, including 30% of the world's chromium and significant shares of manganese, zinc, and titanium. That makes it an attractive partner. However, Europe's approach also includes support for local industry development and not just resource extraction. The summit also addressed some multilateral cooperation concern, including Russia's war in Ukraine. While Central Asian nations have maintained a neutral stance at the UN, the EU urged them to maintain a stronger alignment, especially regarding the sanctions circumvention. The European Council President Antonio Costa stressed that there is a need to reform the global cooperation framework and has warned that Europe will still continue to increase the pressure on Russia, counting on Central Asian cooperation. The leaders also agreed to hold a Central Asia EU Investors Forum later this year and also establish an EBRD office in Uzbekistan. Both sides also backed the idea of holding bilateral summits to sustain the momentum in this growing partnership. However, no major announcement was done regarding the rare earth metals. Now let us give you a little reality check. The EU wants a rare earth deal with Central Asia, but it is assuming that these countries will still ditch Russia. Well, they may, but not so fast, because most of these countries, these Central Asian nations, are still part of CSTO, a Russia-led military alliance. Their ties with Moscow aren't just diplomatic, they are deep-rooted and strategic. Russia, for its part, is actively working to deepen grip on Central Asia's rare earth metal reserves. These nations hold substantial deposits, and Moscow sees them as a key to counter China's rising dominance in the global rare earth market, while also limiting the Western leverage in the region. Even domestically, Russia holds the world's 5th largest rare earth reserve, estimated at 3.8 million metric tons. But its actual output is still less than 1% of the global total. To shift gears, Moscow is now proposing joint ventures, even with its greatest rival, the United States, to boost production and challenge China's monopoly. This is exactly why the EU is in a rush. It wants to get ahead of Russia and lock down strategic deals before Moscow reasserts its full influence. A smart move on paper, but it all hinges on how Central Asia plays its cards. Will they balance both powers or will they pick a side? Well, now that's a game everyone is watching.